District's Honorable Alice Alasso. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, the viewers and the listeners. It's really I feel very good coming back to KFM.
It's been a while. It's really been a while.
It's been a while. So I'm just happy. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we're basically going to go back in time, more than 20 years ago, looking at how FDC came to be. But before we go into that, let's just take a look a little bit at some of the issues that have actually made news this week. The unfortunate Chitezi landfill tragedy. So far, 34 bodies have been recovered, and there's still 10 more trapped under the rubble. And hopes to have these bodies recovered are really beginning to fade. We do hope at least more recoveries are made so that the grieving families can have closure, at least by seeing their loved ones, the remains of their loved ones. But also, who will bear responsibility over the negligence? That's the question I think a lot of people are asking, and it's also the focus of today's Saturday Monitor. That's what you'll find on the front page. The second issue that made news this week, the High Court's dismissal of the petition against the 4 parliamentary commissioners in the Service Awards battle. The Speaker of Parliament is yet to pronounce whether the Sechikuwa team petition against these MPs or these backbench commissioners will see the light of day on the order paper. The other issue is the World Health Organization has declared the Mpox outbreak a global public health emergency. This as the epidemic spreads from the Democratic Republic of Congo to Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, Kenya, with new cases reported in Mexico, Australia, Spain, Sweden, Colombia, among other countries. Also, the last 48 hours have been quite interesting on the X app, formerly Twitter. We've seen the first son at it again. General MK Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the Chief of Defense Forces, has been posting a raft of things on X, mainly political sentiments, seemingly attacking his father, the Commander-in-Chief, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He's also talked about the jailing of his friend, Member of Parliament Michael Mawanda, terming the corruption charges against him as politically motivated. He has attacked his brother-in-law, Odrick Rawogo. He also mentioned something about the Israel-Hamas war. He's also attacked the U.S. government, and he says he wants an apology from the United States for Uganda's removal from AGOA, and Uganda has to be immediately reinstated. Well, so many things. He's so honorable. Before we actually go into looking at FDC at the Crossroads and asking ourselves which way forward for the party, let's just have a quick reaction from you on one of these issues, especially Chitezi, and I would say General Muhoozi's tweets.
Well, thank you for that overview. The Chitezi issue, let me first register my condolences to the bereaved families and also the entire community of Kitezi. The question of Kitezi speaks to the negligence and the failure of government in this country. There is no other way. You don't even want to say the LOC1 should take responsibility, the WHO should take responsibility. This is a gross failure in terms of leadership, because a government that has resources and cannot figure out how to manage waste disposal with a growing population, and this government boasts about increased revenue collection, boasts about growth in GDP, and doesn't take cognizance of the growing needs of managing its urban settings and its urban populations. It is simply a failure of government. But in Uganda, nobody steps down. The minister will blame the people, the president will send 5 million shillings, and so on and so forth, doing all manner of things besides what they are supposed to do. Actually, when you look at Kitezi, you think about a government that is happy to bury than to correct the problem. Because they should have addressed, how can you have mountains of garbage in a modern day era when the rest of the world has since figured out how to deal with their garbage? In cities, people are generating electricity. People are decomposing, doing whatever with garbage, doing the most out of it. And you know, this garbage problem is not going to stop. Look at our situation here. We've always, even when I was in Parliament, one of the things we wanted government to do was to ban Kaveras. And this government refused to ban Buvera. Here, neighbors in Rwanda, you can't enter with Kavera. Even in schools, Mount St. Mary's in Amagunga, you cannot enter the school with a polythene bag. So even at a micro level, people, the same Ugandans are demonstrating that we can't do without Kavera. But government insists. I think 3/4 of that mound called Kitezi is really Kavera.
Plastics.
Yes, plastics. Things that should have been either banned or recycled. So even from a laywoman's perspective, I find that this is negligence and this is a failure by government. And I hope that painfully we will not stop at just dishing 5 million shillings and taking. But also there is this thing that is being circumvented, that there is a group of Chinese who went into there. We cry, we hope that from here and now, maybe some action will be taken. Interestingly, I saw a study. Somebody, some civil engineer, I now can't quote who exactly, did a study on Kitezi recently and said that the thing was a time bomb.
I think a lot of people have actually made reference to Kitezi in the past and in the very recent past about what was actually bound to happen. It was a disaster in waiting, I think.
Yeah, so this government is a letdown. So that's my take on Kitezi. My take on Mpox, certainly it's challenging that we have this outbreak and then another and another and another. I am hoping that we will develop our capacity locally to deal with continue to develop our capacity. The way this country dealt with Ebola is very commendable, and I am hoping that that capacity can continue to be enhanced. But when it comes to vaccines, I think safety is first. Yes, you wanted to?
Actually before this Mpox became such a big, when Kitezi happened, I was actually just asking myself, we're having a conversation somewhere about our response to disasters. But when you look at how we respond to health emergencies, for example, we seem to be doing very well with Ebola, with Marburg. Our responses are really, really quite okay. Then now when you look at these other disasters, landslides, landfills collapsing, floods in Kasese, for example, which are things that keep happening and they give you warnings. You get warnings earlier. We don't seem to actually take them as priorities. That is actually an observation I think I made.
Yes, but you also want to draw a distinction in terms of funding. Most of these disasters, Kitezi, Bududa, and whatever, are local disasters. They happen within our boundaries. And so we are expected to draw from our local resources, our finances. Disasters like health disasters, really, they attract funding. COVID became a business in this country. It was very lucrative. There are people who did not want COVID to go away. But I still just want to emphasize that there is now a growing conversation out there about the safety of vaccines. The sudden deaths, people, all of a sudden a person has clots, and even in the European world, here we are trying to suppress the debate. But I think Moderna has been withdrawn in the EU, and there's so many things going on about vaccines. But here, every time I saw Parliament try to raise the matter the other day, and the minister said, no. I think that we should also allow that debate, given the fact that there are going to be new vaccines, and we want the vaccines to protect people. Let's allow a debate on which vaccines are safe, what side effects Ugandans are suffering, so that we can manage. But an attempt to suppress them does not help, because people will begin to fear the vaccines. So Mpox is unfortunate. It has broken out again, and you know the links we have with the forests in Congo. The soldiers are there, the communities are the same. I just hope that there will be resources that will help the Ministry of Health. At one point, there was an attempt to develop vaccines. I saw there was money given to Minister Musenero. Maybe it's time for her to tell us also what has she done, how far has her team gone in developing some vaccines locally. Yeah.
Okay. MK and his tweets.
You know, the things of MK and his father and their quest to change Uganda into a monarchy, difficult to even interpret. Some days you wake up thinking this is MK doing it alone. Another day you hear the way the father is doing it, is positioning the son as if. So I think that family knows what they have to. If they quarrel, they just quarrel to dupe Ugandans. If the son is MK is tweeting in a very erratic manner, it is just a disappointment to the country, because now he's the commander of the army, and if he's tweeting in very erratic ways, it speaks to the character of our nation and the character of its leadership, which is very, very unfortunate. So I don't think at that level anybody can even correct him. First, he's the first son. He is the commander of the army, and is aspiring to lead this country. The best I think I can tell the country is we need to stand warned that this would have a lot of diplomatic implications, the way we relate with our neighbors and the way we will be treated. You just keep praying that the unlikely does not happen.
Thank you for your insights. So now let's go to our issue. We'll go back more than 20 years ago in 2003. I see you laughing. You know where this is heading. So we had the Pressure Group Reform Agenda. We had the Parliamentary Advocacy Forum. We also had the National Democratic Forum. These three political pillars, I should call, came together. They were in several meetings which resulted in the formation of a new political party, the Forum for Democratic Change. That was in 2004, with Dr. Kizza Besigye as the founding president. Besigye had earlier in 2001 contested as an independent candidate for the presidency, and he ended up running for the same position 4 times. In 2010, Honorable Betty Kamya, who is now the IGG in President Museveni's government. Betty Kamya was a former special envoy to Dr. Besigye. She broke away from the FDC with a few members, and then she formed her own Uganda Federal Alliance, on whose ticket she campaigned for the presidency in 2011. She came 5th in that contest. Her departure was termed as good riddance by a section of some FDC members who stayed behind, and they were accusing her of having been a mole planted to spy for the ruling party or the regime. Well, her party remains, it's still standing, but we don't see much engagement. Sometimes actually you don't even think the party still exists, but it does. In 2012, retired Major General Mugisha Muntu was elected FDC party president, a position he held up to 2017. His reign and style of leadership, which sought to build structures and to take a non-confrontational approach while dealing with the NRM government, was considered unpopular within the party, within the Forum for Democratic Change. And later, we also saw the narrative that he was a mole planted by the ruling party. Now, these sentiments definitely angered him. You wouldn't be happy if someone calls you a mole. And some of his party colleagues who believed in his work methods, the likes of you, Honorable Alaso. And just like Betty Kamya, you guys also walked out of the party in 2018. And on the 27th of September, you officially announced that you had formed a new party, the Alliance for National Transformation. Honorable, my other guests, Honorable Proskovia Salam Musumba just walked in. I'm going to give you a minute to catch your breath.
No, I just checked my health. I'm actually very good.
That's
no
amazing.
panting, not what. I'm so happy with myself. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm good.
Yes.
After taking our steps, we don't have a lift. And it's intentional to keep everyone fit.
Yes, very good. It's very good. I just checked myself and I'm perfect.
Yes, we have to look. The more you exercise, the more your brains work.
No, actually, the lungs. It's the lungs that you open up. And at my age, when you feel this good, you know
you're like,
okay.
You feel like a Gen Z.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
Even the tape is Gen Z.
So, Honorable Salam, we've already talked through other issues. I think I'll just bring up to speed.
I had it very well.
I'll give you time to respond at a later time. So I'm just giving a preamble to where FDC finds itself today. Yes. So, of course, we're looking at how FDC has been breaking up and, people coming and going and forming groups and wherever they're going. So, 2018, Honorable Alaso,
yes,
you officially announced the creation of the Alliance for National Transformation with General Muntu as founding national coordinator. Muntu cited ideological differences having been the major reason for moving away from FDC and forming his own. And that was now the time Engineer Patrick Odoi Amuriat, who had been elected in November 2017 as the new party president, took over the reins fully of FDC. Now, Besigye had already opened an office along Katonga Street in Nakasero during the presidency of Muntu. So it was loosely referred to by many as one parallel FDC office that believed in defiance towards NRM. So in 2016, in the post-election era, Besigye vowed never to contest in any general election under similar circumstances, like one without electoral and political reforms, including an independent national electoral body. 2021, FDC fronts Engineer Oboi for presidency on the party ticket, though some members did not back his candidacy and participation in that process. 17th July 2023, a group of FDC leaders, most of whom are known to belong to now what is popularly known as the FDC Katonga, met at Nsambia Sharing Hall for what they dubbed a national consultative meeting that included Arias Lukwago, who was the FDC Deputy President for Buganda Region, party spokesperson, Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda, and a number of MPs. Amidst tensions between FDC Najana Nkumbi and FDC Katonga, that meeting was called to redirect the party to its core mission, going by, the invitation letters that were sent out. Now, that was the public unveiling of the deep-rooted disharmony among members of the same party sitting at two offices up to now. Along the way, we've seen a lot of press conferences hosted and held, legal challenges, public gatherings, washing aside, addressing the people to prove who is actually, which faction is legitimate. Is it Najana Nkumbi? Is it Katonga? And they're seeking views on how to go forward. So this preamble, this background, I'm giving you this background because this is what is largely forming our conversation this morning. Just this week, court dismissed a case against the FDC Katonga chairman, Wasu Abirigwa, of impersonation and forgery of documents. 6th October 2023, FDC Najana Nkumbi also organized a national delegates conference at Lugogo, and they re-elected engineer Patrick Oboya Muriat as party president. Katonga Group said that was a fraudulent process. And come this Monday, the 19th of August, they are set to have their own national delegates conference at Katonga Road, Nakasero. It's actually quite interesting what is happening. So Katonga says the final resolution will attempt to make a way forward for FDC. And that's why we are asking which way forward for a 20-year-old political party. And I'm just told today, FDC Najana Nkumbi is also set to have a mobilization rally at Lugazi as they carry on with their online registration of members. Where do we start? Which way should I go? Stephen is showing me that it's 9:30 already, and that means it's time for us to take a break. So let's go for the break, and then we come back, and I'll hear from you, Honorable Salam, your quick response to the issues we talked about earlier, and then we set the pace for the conversation. This is VPN. Good morning. Welcome back from the break. This is still VPN here on 93.3 KFM. My name is Judith Atim. I'm your host. My two guests are in. I'm still waiting for the third one. Hopefully he'll actually catch up with us. Honorable Proskovia Salam Musumba, FDC Deputy President.
Vice Chair. Vice Chair. I'm a Vice Chair.
Vice Chair. Let's get that correct.
I'm a Vice Chair.
Okay. Vice Chair, Katonga Faction. She's a former MP and former district chairperson, and Honorable Alisa Lasso Asian, the acting national coordinator, the Alliance for National Transformation, FDC founding member, former woman member of Parliament for Soroti and Serere districts. The old girls of FDC are in the house.
Smiling as usual.
I wish they knew what we were doing.
So, Honorable Salam, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, and a good morning to us all. And to you out there who are listening to us, thank you for tuning in. The subject matter is all doom. There's nothing working right in this country, and it has been so. And we have jointly and severally warned that the way things were happening and not happening was leading us to a situation of paralysis, and it would hurt us all. We are being led by junk. It's a junk nation, and this junk, you put in junk, you get junk, and therefore, why should we be surprised? I can only offer a solution. One. If, for instance, you handpick people at City Hall, pick the best. And if you are giving them loads of money as they are, let them work. I have a friend who works there and says, listen, the big people's children, daughters and sons that have been given jobs they don't even fit. They spend 3/4 of their time on phone,
watching TikTok videos,
in the mirrors, brushing themselves, lipsticking themselves, and even their supervisor is warned never to ever touch them. I mean, why do you expect to work in that format? So it's people's children seated at tables, wasting Uganda people's time. They can't be supervised. They don't arrive on time. They don't know nothing about what they're doing. They are all filled up there in City Hall. Okay? They don't even have to earn a salary, but they need to get out of home. Because their fathers, their mothers have stashed money in the home. They don't need it, but they want the kids out also to give an address, but they work. They are hurting society. They're hurting society. So this entire thing is a planned disaster. You see? It is a planned disaster, and it's not the last. It's really not the last. And somebody says, listen, this is an enterprise in disaster. An enterprise in disaster, you will soon hear action. We have people who only work from a mortuary. This government is a mortuary kind of government. It cannot anticipate anything. It can't plan. I heard my sister Alice talk about mpox and all other diseases that are coming in. They're also a failure of planning, because in these urban areas, or if you go into the small towns in our villages that are not planned, that are not organized, parties exist to organize society, not to talk about society, to to organize society. And what we have excelled in is to talk, to analyze, to critique. No, sir. No, madam. We are expected to organize society, a 21st century society. For instance, we cannot say we were successful in Ebola, in cholera. I mean, these are dirty diseases. Do you know they are dirty diseases? They arise out of filth and a filthy lifestyle. And our mandate is to organize society, organize the living. I went to Kasukoso and I thought, this is crazy in the 21st century. I mean, even ghettos in New York weren't that bad. But this is a society that people in government would want to go and look for votes from. Come back and buy the V8s after they've given them 20,000 each on voting day. They come back and buy the V8s and build mansions for themselves and leave the situation as is. Okay? So, we cannot be planning for perennial failure, discussing perennial failure, and I really want to ask you guys, stop it. Let us stop talking about what the end point of failure. The end point of failure is death. It doesn't matter whether you've died in an accident, it's because of failure. If you have traveled to Jinja is the road, Jinja Kampala is the road that should be bringing in the wealth of this nation. Look at the potholes. The Jinja Expressway, for instance, it has been on the tables for how long? Probably they are looking for Mnyankole who will build it. Hasn't been born yet. Hasn't gone to school yet. While we wait and die. Okay? These are the hard facts. Because tell me, without the engineers we have, without the UNRA fellows that we have, and the chief of UNRA grew up in Jinja. She grew up in Jinja. She never moved on that way. She would have been dead. So, even if we were not to attach any sentiments to what we are doing and what we are saying, we're saying this is dumb, this is deliberate. The dual carriageway, as you go to Kakira, that section was done by the Madivani family. I have grown up 60 years now. It is that way. We have none. We have none. The best they ever did was to put a road toll at Mbiko to extract money from the road users. Now, tell me, when will the Jinja Expressway come? Soon there will be a disaster there and you will come back here, talk the same bloody English that we are talking today and do nothing. Let us stop talking about this. Mpox is going to ravage this country largely because of the way we travel, because of the way we are, the housing, the borders will carry it. You see, it is a failure in planning. And for me, who did planning, fiscal planning, I wonder why people never get it. Year after year. You have a sprawling city that nobody has planned. Yeah, I mean, you can't even, coming here today, I find that all the roads are blocked without any notice. I mean, bloody hell, what is this? So, really, it is not just failure. Because these guys were going through trial and error.
Yes.
You know this thing called trial and error? They finished the period of trial. Now they are on error. Cumulative error upon error. You guys out there, you'd better know that we are a mistake. This country is a mistake. This government is a mistake. We must do something, and that's why when I find Alice here and myself, I thank God we are still healthy and we are at it. We have not abandoned ship of offering leadership to this country, of saying the right things in the right place and putting everybody on notice to understand that, listen, this is the team you're missing.
Thank you very much. Let's now talk about our topic for today, FDC at a crossroads. What is the way forward?
How many times will it be at crossroads?
Let me first hear from my sister, Honorable Alaso. When FDC was established, of course, its focus, like any opposition party, was to take over power from the NRM regime, which hasn't happened yet. But at that time, over the years, we knew FDC is one solid unit moving as a block.
Yes.
And no doubt to any observer out there, FDC
the
was
winning team.
It was, and it was stronger, perhaps the strongest opposition that we have ever seen. But we cannot say the same today because of the fragmentation that we are seeing, that has polarized the party, polarized even your supporters are divided because which way should they go? They don't know, should we stand with Najana Nkumbi? Should we stand with Katonga? There's just confusion. There doesn't seem to be a sense of leadership whatsoever for the party.
There's leadership in both sides. Choose.
You see, now that's the confusion.
There's no confusion.
20 years ago.
It is part of the junk. There's no confusion.
20 years ago, Ugandans knew that FDC was one party, it had a leader. So when you're now so who are you now? Are you still one party? Are you two parties with different viewpoints? Honorable Alaso, I mean, you no longer belong to FDC, but I would still like your insights.
Alice and I are founder members.
Yes.
And we are talking to the right people.
Absolutely. That's why you're here. Honorable Alaso.
It should be known that the goings on in FDC really actually cause pain to some of us, even when we are no longer there. Because the aspirations for which we founded the party have not yet been achieved. But also, the investment some of us really gave into the party, our prime life, and the sacrifices, it can be countless. And so when we look at what is going on, we keep thinking, was this in vain? Are they able to get rid of the mess? And can they proceed? Can they reestablish themselves? That's why the chronology you gave is important. It is informative. But also with hindsight, when I look at that chronology, there are certain things that come to my mind. That at the founding of the party, we emphasized the ideals for which we were establishing FDC. Constitutionalism, rule of law, democracy, good governance, and we really just wanted to get rid of this one man also who was overstaying his invitation. But with hindsight, as a Secretary General who served the party so long, but I'm glad I served it well. Over 10 years until I couldn't be eligible again. But
you served the full 2 terms.
Yeah, but with hindsight, I realized that there was an omission. We did not spend time agreeing on the value system for the party. The conduct of leaders is one area which we did not. We agreed on where we wanted to carry the party, and then we did very little. Actually, to the best of my recollection, it was only the disciplinary code of conduct that was put in place. But in terms of values, you come into this institution and this is how or what you must champion. We never discussed it even for one day. The second thing with hindsight is that in terms of strategy, we did not spend a lot of time agreeing on the strategy that the party would champion. So once in a while we said we support activism. That's where Dr. Besigye came in and said that he was taking leave and going for activism. And so at the headquarters we said we'll support Dr. Besigye as he takes on the activist wing. We will also build this institution. That required people who had the capacity to manage the two tendencies. I'm afraid at some point in time, it got lost in terms of the leadership of the party, to the extent that about 2017 there was a clear distinction during that campaign. Many people thought activism was the only way to go. Others thought, the other group wanted only building the structures, even forgetting that the very people who were discussing activism were products of institutional building. Had we looked closely and adopted unto ourselves a strategy and say that this strategy, whoever comes into leadership takes it on, this is how we will drive this vehicle, I believe that it would have helped us. And then, of course, we had spent time in that history that you gave. We had spent time, even amidst discomfort by some members, building the internal democratic processes in the party. When people finally accused General Muntu of being a mole, it is because he started aspiring to carry the flag, the presidential candidate flag. And so, things started happening. But from the word go, we who worked with General Muntu, there was a time I had a discussion with him. He said, now you want to contest? Because at the founding of the party, Dr. Besigye was not in the country. He had gone into exile. I remember that the reform team was led by the late Njuba. I think he was the team leader at that time. And so...
And the other one, name all the other leaders too.
Okay, you will fill in that.
No, you know, to give a good picture.
Give us
then
a good picture.
We had Chairman Chapa.
I was going to go into the merger, but it's okay. Chairman Chapa from the NDF, and then from PAFO. Yes, so that's how it was. And so when the everything had been finalized and there is a party, and then now we want to launch into the political waters, then we go in and pick Dr. Besigye from South Africa. It looked at that time unacceptable that anybody would even imagine contesting with Dr. Besigye, because he had, shaken this country in the 2001 election.
He became the poster child for opposition.
Yes, he was undoubtedly. But then, talking with General Muntu, he said, if we don't start practicing competition internally, we will have problems. So we know the outcome. We know that Dr. Besigye is on the lead, but let us continue offering internal competition. And so that was the culture that was being developed in the party.
Didn't have debates of the national stage.
Yes, because we kept saying we cannot give this country what we do not have.
Correct.
Yes, what we do not have. And then lastly, with hindsight, the developments in the FDC from 2017 demonstrated a failure to appreciate diversity. So you have these leaders who will not issue a threat, and then you have this group that will issue a threat, they will rain fire. Had the FDC, all of us in there, appreciated that we needed each other, maybe the glue would have stayed. And then also the management style. So the criticism that was rained on General Muntu was on his management style. But I think everybody knows now that that was the glue that was holding the party together. I will not delve into the happening, but certainly what I have followed keenly is in terms of the values. Honorable Salam will address that. But if leaders get into compromising situations, that undermines the entire fabric of the organization. You can no longer discuss strategy. You can no longer discuss aspirations, because you do not know whether you are still the same and one entity. And therefore, it is sad that the FDC has reached this point where it is.
But before you end your submission, Honorable, do you support the Katonga team to leave Najana Nkumbi?
I will tell you that when we left as ANT, certain things we had to put almost all the options on the table. And we said, this, if we stay, are we going to be relevant? If we stay, are we going to be disruptive? If we stay, are we going to be pushed away? If we stay, what is the value of our staying and what do we derive if we go? I am assuming that the Katonga team has been weighing those options, and maybe she will advise us whether they have found that it is no longer possible to stay. Because for us, our departure was we would be totally irrelevant, or if we stayed, would be at best so disruptive, worst case, rendered redundant in the organization. And we thought we still had an input to make in the country. Mm-hmm. I believe that when they have explored all that, they will decide whether they want to stay or they want to go. Is there still something that keeps the two groups together?
Oh, okay. Honorable Salam, on Monday you're having your...
Why don't you let me finish up the point?
Because let me tell you, I actually don't want... I want you to speak fully, yes.
Listen a minute. If you take me to another thought process, you will miss this point.
No problem.
For us, we were not even... we did not opt out. We were thrown out.
You can say that again?
We were thrown out. You recall that the chairman had to escape from a headquarters.
From his meeting.
When we went for meetings, there were chiefesses around us any day. All our meetings got captured. You know? The military and the police, all the security apparatus were abating this overthrow of a party. So we were thrown out. We had no option. In the last meeting that we attended, the National Council, which my office chairs, I mean, it was like a war zone. Najana Nkumbi became a war zone, physical war, not cold war, a hot war. And so, unlike Alice and her team, who opted out in a decent, a decent, civilized way, and said, guys,
this is our point of departure.
We can no longer be part of you because we find irreconcilable differences with you. They had that option. For us, we could not even sit at Najana Nkumbi. We were literally overrun. The last meeting I attended of NEC, I asked, what were all these people hanging all over us? What were they doing? They had instructions to destroy our cars. They had instructions to beat us up. I mean, in a party that we formed. So ours was an overrun, aided by the same enemies of democracy that we set out to challenge, using a platform of a political party. That's what I wanted to tell you. Yeah. So we are not in Katonga on our own volition. No, we are not. The entire effort was actually to overrun us, so that the full effect of party capture would happen, as you see. How come you don't see?
Well, I've actually just been reminded by my producer. Honorable Salam, I've just been reminded here, and you could actually set the record straight.
Yeah.
That Salam was the MC when they received the elders' report. Did the vice chairman fail to manage the meeting? Let me tell you,
even the formation of the elders committee, this thing called values you see, when a president confides in the National Executive Committee and say, kindly allow me to set up this group. Now, in his manipulative way, this is a man who took power from the office of the chair. Because it was the chair who chairs the National Council and the Delegates Conference. And so it was the National Council that requested for that investigation. So it was the chairman to set up that committee. Now, because we were still managing matters internally, when he overran the office of the chair and set it up, we asked him, who will they report to? They said they will report to National Council. And who chairs the National Council? It's the chair. And people haven't even paid attention to that fine detail that a man sets up a committee because out of respect we said, listen, let us not stir the water. Let us let him set up the committee because it will still come back to us. Now, Patrick Oboya-Muriat sets up the committee. Patrick Amuriat receives the report. Patrick Amuriat is not the chairman of the National Executive Committee. So, as we are trying to manage and balance, we say, okay, do it.
So the chairman of National Council.
The National Council chair, who I deputize, was receiving a report from a president who did not, under our organs, who was not supposed to. They didn't even deliver. And let me tell you, that was the most fraudulent report. The most fraudulent report. One, it first put a disclaimer that we are not competent enough to look through the accounts. That is the report. We found the report on that day. We found the report not to be discussed. You see? Let us adopt. You see, madness reigned.
So you want to adopt a report that was not allowed to be discussed?
No, you see, they did not discuss it. They could not. Failure to manage that meeting. It went out of the hands of the chair. And the chairman was still thinking that we can pull ourselves together. You know, you are managing politics process. What he thought that we could still manage the what? Let it get out of the way. We will sort it out. And it remains still an eyesore in our democratic processes.
So up to now,
our management,
you guys never had the chance to actually look at the contents of the report, and you don't even have an idea what's in it.
I have a clue,
but you don't.
It was never digested. It was never digested. It was never digested. It was supposed to be thrown at us, picked out. The thing that helped is that in that frenzy of things, somebody moved and said, let's make it public. And the guys that had been plotting all night did not realize that they were exposing themselves maximum for eternity. So I want you, after 1 year now, to go back and digest that report word for word and understand this old man called Dr. Nabuiso. What was he saying? Because you say so much in papers and you say nothing. Totally nothing.
So, Honorable, let's talk about the National Delegates Conference slated for Monday, which you're mobilizing for. Do we see a new party being formed?
Yes.
What does the road look like for you people? I mean, what do you foresee?
What we foresee is that we have 20 years of our lives, of our expertise, of our capability, and of our political existence. And we're looking for a political platform where our voices will be heard. And therefore, we have gone around the country consulting the founder members, the membership of the options, because there's a political menu available to us. We are managing a destabilized situation. Our vehicle has been destabilized. So we are saying, do we stay like this? Of course, we have history to look at. We are looking at DP. We are looking at UPC. And we're saying, do we want to be like that? Mm-hmm. The answer is definitely no. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that option was put to the membership, to the party members. Do we continue in court? Do we continue in this fashion? And they say, no, please, we shall not continue in that fashion because it does not pay political dividends.
So when the likes of Honorable Alaso, headed by General Muntu, moved out and formed the ANT, of course it was formed from a lot of internal frustrations, I should say. And there was a time I actually hosted General Muntu here. When I think the thing that pains anyone is if you have genuine interest for something and then you are labeled a mole, you are working for somebody else to destabilize the party. But now when we see Katonga being thrown out, like you say, FDC Katonga faction coming up and say, look, we were thrown out, we were ejected from the party, which we founded, we loved so dearly, we didn't want to actually leave. Do you think now Muntu and the ANT team are actually exonerated, or they are vindicated from all the sentiments that
I'll tell you something
had emerged and existed in the party for a long time?
That election in which Amuriat won was an election that was organized by the Secretary General, the Honorable, the Right Honorable Alice Alaso. Asianot.
No.
Who did that?
By that time, Nathan was the Secretary General. I was deputizing General Muntu.
Oh.
He was just...
So it was Mafabi who organized,
yes, it was Nathan
the election that brought...
And my take on that is that it was not an election that was rigged or that had problems. And Honorable Muntu did not even petition. Honorable Muntu is a man I served with and is a man I have so much respect. And whenever I hear people say these things about him, I get mad. Because it was Honorable Muntu and I who were assigned to do the global tours to market FDC. I spent months with him in Canada, in the USA, in London, in all these capitals, selling the brand called FDC. I remember we went to Canada, and the community in Canada were largely the people from Acholi that had been displaced, that had to run for life. That was hot war in northern Uganda. Yeah. People forget there was a war of 20 years in northern Uganda. And we get there, and people in Canada, Dr. To was the community chair. You would never access that community if Dr. To said no. And so they said, listen, if we do not see one of our own on that team, you will not talk to us. And we had to order for Professor Latigo to fly to Canada, Toronto. And they said, listen, we will not talk to you until we have interrogated Professor Latigo. And of course, Professor Latigo, coming from Agago, the heat of war, Kalongo, was packed with internally displaced people. You get to Kalongo and you say, my God, what have we done to our country? And so they go in for a meeting from 8 to 2. As I sat with Honorable Muntu, waiting at Dr. Munini's home, we waited and waited and waited, and we thought it wouldn't come through. We were in the same city, Toronto, but we were worried we weren't going to meet this community. And Honorable Muntu had to bear all the flack of the Luero War, of the Westerners, what they had done to the Northerners. And me, I was neutral. This Musoga, who was in the middle,
Musoga had its own challenges as well.
No, not then. Not then. And so, listen, people need to know this.
No, it's okay. He's just signaling to me that.
So we when we got there, we found a team of angry people, and it needed the character of Honorable Muntu to bring on the table to cool down for those people to meet us. By the time we got there, Professor Latigo was speechless. He was actually, I could see he was crying inside because he didn't know how to deal with the situation. Remember, he was coming from DP as well. And so when we get to that meeting, the verbal punches. And if you were lucky for anybody to open up, just to ooze out the anger, the fermented anger for years, you have overthrown our government, you have displaced us, you have displaced our community, you are committing genocide in the north. This war is a business for you people. There was so much. But finally, we had a discussion. And towards the end of the meeting, one asked, in war, this is what he was saying, during war, who kills most? The winner or the vanquished?
That's a philosophical one.
Yes. And they said the winner. The winner is the one who has killed people. How can you say we killed the people in Luero? When you were in Luero, you defeated us. It means you killed more people in Luero. And that, for me, did it. And I'm telling you, Honorable Muntu graciously said, listen, guys, that past is past. We have a situation to deal with. I am here in peace. And we had a good conversation, and we had a very good lunch. So there's no way you can tell me that Muntu, whoever says these things, kills me. We walked Capitol Hill. All the English we know, all the titles we had, the integrity. You can't use Muntu's integrity, Muntu's space, and then abuse him.
Thank you very
Defecate
much.
on him.
Thank you, Salam, for giving us that. I think this makes you feel good, Honorable Alaso.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Listen, guys.
I think anyone who's interacted with Muntu, really, you cannot. The man's integrity.
That's the truth, and that is where we come from. Guys,
we're in a break now. That's right. This is LVPN here on 93.3 KFM. I am Judy, the team, your host. We are discussing FDC at a crossroads. We're asking ourselves which way forward. Is it the Katonga way or the Najanankumbi way? Later, or no way. Well, we'll see that along the way. Later, we shall also be looking at the case for and against the regional MP sittings. But for now, we're still keeping it FDC. Honorable Alaso, I'm coming to you. This is the third party emerging out of FDC 20 years later. If, from your experience, moving as the first faction that broke out to form the Alliance for National Transformation, definitely a new party comes with a lot of burden, a lot of baggage, a lot of this. There's just so much to navigate. What do you think the Katonga team is likely to face? The political challenges, the financial hurdles they have to jump, and so on, winning public perception in some cases, because I also believe the Najanankumbi people also have people who are loyal to them and believe they are the right party. And so gaining that public trust, winning that, having that confidence from the public. What do you think? Maybe if you could just share a little bit of experience from your side and to just offer some insights that the Katonga team can glean from.
Well, I thought they should pay for me some consultancy fees so that I take them through this experience that we went through.
Honorable Salam, would you like to look into that?
Yes. But
professional fees for Honorable Alaso. Yes.
Any day.
I think that they come as we did. We came with an advantage. We already had name recognition, people who had been in the political limelight. And so raising the promoters, the people who support this idea to form a political party is not a difficult thing. The Katonga group already has its presence everywhere. So that should not be a problem. I perceive that their hurdles will be because the entity that they are forming is going to be understood as an entity against the group that has remained in Najana Nkumbi, and also that the Najana Nkumbi enjoys the protection of the state. That is likely to have an effect that trickles even into the way the Electoral Commission is going to handle the registration of the new political party. It will interest you to know that since the Political Parties Organizations Act, the amendments that came through, it is only ANT that has been fully registered under that law. I remember that we did the FDC under the Companies, is it called Companies Act? Yeah. It is only ANT that has been registered under the Political Parties Organizations Act.
The others were saved.
Yeah, the
BP was saved.
Yeah.
UPC was saved. NRM.
Yes, and what is the one of Betty Kami? I think they found one that was already there. And then NUP bought the one of Chibalama. And then they have already, you see the challenges they have faced as a result of that decision. So what the Katonga group is going to be doing is to register under the Political Parties Organizations Act, unless they decide to pick something from the shelf, which I don't think is their character. So if they go that way, as I assume, they will really have to contend with the normal way. They will have
the legal way.
The normal and legal. They will have to contend with the dynamics, the interests of the state and the dynamics inside the Electoral Commission, because they will have to provide every promoter one by one their number, their IDs and whatever, which they will get.
Every promoter, meaning anyone who supports
and there are 50 per district.
For us, we had 100 per district.
100. Okay, make it 1,000.
Yeah.
We'll still get them.
Yes. So then they will come back to you and say, so and so did not agree. You have his name here. That kind of thing. And then also the time, political parties are created as vehicles for participation, even in an upcoming election. And we are kind of close, within 1 year.
Yes. So actually, I would actually like to know if, should you create a new party, would you be participating in 2026?
Yes, but maybe later. Yes, maybe she will respond to that. But what I am imagining is the timelines that the Electoral Commission will probably give.
They have a limit to 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. Wow. So we know the time frame.
Yeah. So within those 6 months, if they are able to handle all the obstacles,
surely with computers that are powered to bring back results of elections in 24 hours, they should be able to give us a certificate in 48.
Well, Honorable Salam, I am talking about the Electoral Commission. The one we
which one were you referring to? Which one?
I don't know which one you are looking at.
Akabrai. I was thinking of Akabrai.
Because that is the same Electoral Commission we dealt with in 2011. We were busy doing results somewhere. We had a different results. They had their own.
They attacked
they attacked us and took away all our computers. That's the Electoral Commission.
Thuggery.
Yeah.
Political thuggery, par excellence.
So while you're very optimistic, I would like you to keep an eye on the fact that you are dealing with the same Electoral Commission. Yeah.
In terms of mobilizing resources, financial in particular, what does that look like?
Well, Honorable Salam will tell us. It was challenging for us. We didn't have money, but it's also not expensive when you have your presence in every district, because then you call into play the actors you already have. They'll run around, they'll bring them whatever, and then that's not.
We are going to set up a new party, and I want to thank Alice for pointing out all these things, building and closing all these gaps I was told that somebody told me that, listen, what you set up was reactionary. It was a reactionary platform, reacting to the situation as was. So it did not take into account many things about party formation. And also we should be forgiven because, Alice, we were setting up the first party in our lives since Uganda was ever formed. And so you can forgive us for all these omissions because whatever we anticipated, we provided for. What we did not, we anticipated for the enemy outside. We never provided for the enemy within. And so we were found wanting. And so we will this time plug all these holes as much as we can, and we'll put in safeguards for that. And what we are doing is not for elections just. It's for us to present a political voice in order to put on the political table policies, programs, and options. Because whether you like it or not, Uganda is going to get to a point where they are going to look at who is providing what. They have lived in this illusion of mass where NRM. See where it has gotten us. I don't think there's even a party called NRM anymore. Because it doesn't even look like one. It is the only party that has not implemented its constitution. They've never met since even after the COVID or even the last election. They haven't. And you can see that there's now a splinter. There's PLU out of NRM. So please, you people of the media, I want you to be professional lenses to tell Ugandans, because when you don't, then they think that the problem is a small problem that is limited to FDC, that and all these other political actors. You must ask NRM. You must have its constitution here. On you, there must be a library. If you want to talk about politics, let's not talk politics of newspapers. Let's talk politics of institutional
There's
building.
a question coming in here for you.
Yes.
A political party is not a Tea Party gathering. You form one to take over power. So you have, in just less than 2 years, general election coming. Are you prepared for the tough road ahead?
We are prepared for everything because we are heavy duty, tough. Look at me straight and tell the people out there that you have a hard body in Salam Musumba and others. And I'm writing a book, by the way. I'm writing a book.
What is it about?
I'm writing a book about the political life of FDC. I have many books, and then the political life of Salam Musumba, because people want to know, who am I? What am I? Why am I? You know? And if I get time, but I'm a good writer. But the first one I want to bring out is the FDC that I and her. I carried money in coins to go and register this party. And 20 years down the road, and I was in such a unique situation that I am leaving a husband who is NRM and a minister.
You should also.
Do you know what painful it is?
Carried the papers in sacks to go and register the party.
Alice did.
Papers.
And I tell you,
wasn't it scary carrying all that money?
It was.
Someone can actually waylay you.
Of mine. I owe this to myself. I owe this to my children. I owe this to the people who can't speak today. The people who were short as we were coming from all places and all such things. So this is what I want to put from my perspective. And I hope to be good reading. Alice, do so too. Because we must account.
That's what I was also thinking about.
We must account for our time. We must account for 20 years. And so for me, on 16th December, which is our 20th anniversary, I want to give this as a present to myself.
think that sounds like a beautiful present one would give themselves. But one thing I have always been curious about, and I think I will start with you, Alice Alaso. If there was a chance for power sharing in this country, would you as ANT actually work with this government? Would you as FDC Katonga work with this government?
There is one thing that we are conscious about, and it is that there are still some individuals that mean well for this country, caught up in the stranglehold of the NRM. And so working with them as individuals is something the ANT is very open about. They can abandon that ship and we can discuss how to move this country forward. And that goes to our commitment also working with political parties in the opposition. Because there is a lot in common, but we also appreciate that there is no institution that can now single-handedly deliver this country. Different actors have to come on board. But when it comes to that organization called the NRM, and it is an institutional state, I'm afraid that at the ANT we are unable. We've made a conscious decision that we cannot work with them. We hear people are forming alliances, and it's instructive. You want to know
junk alliances
what the joining of our dear friend, the Honorable Norbert Mao,
the one and only
chairman. What his presence there is, what the dividends are.
Value addition zero.
So when you look at it, it kind of drives you away. When you look at the UPC and their presence in there, you look for value addition, as Salam calls it, and you kind of don't get it. So we know that that system swallows those who want to try to reform it, and we have advised ourselves that we can't work with it. Yeah.
Okay. Can I hear from you, Honorable?
A transition, because it's the only option left on the table to get us out of this junk situation, isn't it?
Yes.
A transition. And this transition was foreseen by the framers of the Constitution. And they understood our history and said, listen, let us provide for 2 terms to allow for a transition from one group to another, even in the same party. They foresaw that transition is a difficult thing. So we removed that provision. And for us, that was our party.
We didn't vote in support of it.
No, we didn't. That was our party. And that's how we formed FDC, because we thought a big disservice had been done to our country. So that safeguard was removed. The second safeguard was removed too. So we are in open waters, open seas, just waiting for this calamity to happen. And whichever way you look at it, we have a situation that is flammable. And so we need, as a country, and for us in FDC, we have a template for transition. That template, when we get time, we can share it with everybody. And what is our part in it is that we must agree on the template first. Just a template. And once we agree on the template, we are available. We are available.
But also...
because we have been around long enough, even personalities to partake of that must be agreed on, and their track record too understood. Because now
I wanted to add that when you look at the person of President Museveni, he cannot be trusted basing on his track record in this country. You cannot trust him. You cannot take him at his word, and any partnership with him must play to him. Talk about the 1985, talk about prior attempts, anything that looks like...
And also post-election contacts that they had made with us.
Yes.
All those blown by him, set by him, managed by him, blown by him.
There's another comment or something directed at you, Honorable Musumba.
Yes.
You're not political amateurs, granted.
No, we are not.
But you're starting up a new political party, well knowing you are playing in an environment without political and electoral reforms.
Yes.
Many of the actors who will be joining you have to look at their political future as well, especially current MPs and aspiring MPs. They have to gauge, if I'm going to join FDC, well, I don't know what the name of the new party will be, but still... Katonga, yes. Katonga base.
Katonga base.
Okay. So, but now when you say Katonga base, does that name resonate with the rest of the country?
That's up to them.
No, for purposes of
that's up to them.
Okay.
Listen,
for now it's
I want you to understand that I don't live in this country alone. We don't live in this country alone. We are trapped and victims of this country together. So don't bring me these sophisticated thoughts of yours, but does it resonate? I could be independent. Does that resonate with you?
It depends.
Yeah. So please don't fix us into these things, the sophisticated things. You're dealing with junk, and you want to appear like you are sophisticated. You're not.
Yes, but for the sake of the listener, she really wants to know how to address
listeners.
For now, she can
listeners, Katonga base.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Don't remove the base.
We're going to open the phone lines. Feel free to call and... sorry. Let me read the phone lines. Feel free to call us and share your insights and direct some of your questions or comments to these wonderful ladies here, the FDC strong women, the founding women.
You can't take that away from us. That's why you see us smile.
0393
we reminisce about our time, and those times are coming back.
I am reading the numbers, Honorable. 0393 262 933 0393 262 934. You could also reach us on 0393 266 933 0701 933 934 and lastly 0751 933 900. We are still talking about the Forum for Democratic Change at a Crossroads, and we're asking which way forward. Is it Katonga base or Najanankumbi base?
No, there's no Najanankumbi base, please. There's Najanankumbi.
No, we were actually toying with the idea of...
Are we off?
Hello? Yes, we are supposed to get a call. Hello? Okay. As we wait to actually get the calls. Okay. No call has come through, but I think we can proceed. In terms of building up grassroots structures, what has been your experience, Honorable Alaso? We have a caller. Hello?
Yes,
hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. May I please know who this is?
This is William.
William?
Yes.
Yes, William. Could you please share your thoughts with us or your questions?
My question is... who will be the party president come 2026?
What did you say?
The party president of FDC. 2026. Because me, I wanted Dr. to come back. But
okay. All right. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yes, thanks for the short Judy.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Michael.
Yes, Michael.
And I want to thank those two iron ladies in the studio. I'm proud of them since we all come from East.
Yeah, and you're also from the East.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, please proceed with your comment or question.
My concern is that I feel like it's a trend. Whenever we go towards a general election, there's a political party which comes up. And I don't know how we can really desist from this issue. My question is specifically go to Honorable Salam. He has also been hosted on KFM on hot seat, especially discussing this issue of FDC. And I feel happy. Me as a member of FDC is so painful for the decision which is coming next week. You know, now Madam Salam Somba, all the tears, all the time, the money, how you convince some of us, the Gen Zs, to join you in FDC. What are you leaving us behind with?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Okay, I think let's... One more question? Hello? Yes. Who? Juma. Okay, yes, Juma.
Good morning to all of you and all the parents.
Good morning, Juma.
Thank you. In fact, Salam Somba, this is the lady who inspired me emotionally ever. He never keep quiet when there is something going wrong. And there was another lady called Theogwal, and there is one from Human Rights Side, Sarah Birete. I feel like this country, Uganda, is not all about genders. These three ladies, when they are cooked together, they can plan and change makeup in this country. Because it is hard to connive or it is hard to bribe a mother. Because they are all coming to stand onto such a post because of the feeling that the service delivery is made by the current regime. Look at it. What happened is like Uganda has no leaders. The officers are at blunders. No one is not supervising one another, and then someone is leaving the whole workload onto a chairman LC1, and really chairman LC1 bring the solution of fighting such a big tragedy. And yet, when you go to monthly salaries, the one who called mayor, I don't know how much a mayor of city council gets. I don't know how much councillors get. The president himself, because he's the chairman of the political party called NRI, is the chairman. Sometimes the citizens are attacking the president, not by the virtue of being president. They are attacking as a chairman, as a stakeholders in some areas.
Thank you, Juma. Thank you very much for your concerns. We do appreciate all of you who've called. One more. Okay. We're done with calls right now. Let's just have a quick responses from you two ladies. William said he wants Dr. Kizza Besigye to run for presidency. He's asking who you're going to front for the presidential candidacy in 2026. Michael says it seems there's a trend for parties forming whenever we're approaching general elections. And the tears and time and money you've spent, Honorable Salam, to convince the young people to actually join the Forum for Democratic Change. Now that this is happening, the party split, what are you leaving the young people with? Juma is just saying he's inspired by strong ladies like you. He's also decrying the poor state of service delivery under the current regime. I'd just like you to respond. And
all right, thank you very much. William, Michael, Juma, and the other person, I didn't get the name. What are we leaving behind? We have an entire history on record as our legacy. And our footmarks in the politics of this country. That is for you to learn from. And if you could invest time in reading and knowing, you will avoid the very painful mistakes that have befallen us. And that to me is a big plus, a legacy and a footprint. You can Google any day. In the past, you couldn't Google. You could read about DP, you could never understand what befell it, and even today you wouldn't, because people haven't tried to read how did DP come about, and what are the values of DP, and what next. Likewise, UPC and the rest of the parties. So that history, 20 years, is important for your future and your present. The trend of new parties. Listen, guys, we are not just in a habit setting up a party, as Alice will tell you. Maybe it's easier now. But when we set up, I remember going to Nakapiripiri on a rugged road with the late Sulaiman Chigundu, going with Honorable Augustine Ruzindana to what's that Gundi of his? What's that place? Ntungamo. I mean, it was abominable for anybody to say, listen, we've had enough of NRM and the movement system. Now that we have voted to go into multi-party, we are including Honorable Ruzindana.
I'm told we're taking a break, Honorable. Can we just come back and you respond? Our sponsors. Come back. Honorable Salam, sorry, we had cut you short when we were going into the break. You were still responding to the issues that were raised by our callers. I think you were still on Michael's issue of what are you leaving the young
people? We are leaving and we are sad about it. I'm telling you. You guys have no clue. Huh? The pain we carry in our hearts. Because we are the ones with the mandate to speak for the dead, the many people that were shot for a cause. There's Kakuru in Rukunjiri, he was shot in a rally where we were. There's here in Vulange, people who were shot. When we were living in Tebe, when Dr. Besige had been tear gassed and was returning, there were so many dead bodies, broken bones, lost opportunity. That pain we carry with us. We have tried so hard to salvage that history. We have struggled a whole year. It's coming to a year when this disruption happened. And we want to do so. We want to carry on the mission for which our colleagues lost lives, lost opportunity, in court, in prison, and all that. Our history is clear, very clear. We don't have to speak about ourselves. You only need to Google Bulange, and they will tell you. So, guys, you should be happy. Because you can't give what you don't have.
Okay.
If we had remained, as I saw, when I was out of the country, the fence, I cried uncontrollably. It reminded me that, listen, this man, Ambassador Waswa, Owechitibwa, part of Buganda Kingdom, is now again jumping like the Kabaka jumped in Lubiri. This is a replay of history. I wondered what had happened to us, but I could now, with hindsight, remember the actors. This did not happen. Listen, my friend, this did not happen without actors. It is not in hiding. No, we know who did what, when, and why.
Honorable Alaso, let's hear from you. Just your reactions to the comments from the callers.
Yeah, there is this insinuation that whenever there is an election, new political parties emerge. Salam has explained it, but what I would like to emphasize is that people are simply missing the point. We belabored these matters, and we have explained why it becomes absolutely necessary for key actors like ourselves to find a platform where we will continue to champion these interests. I believe that the only thing that the public would be urging us is to explore, when we finally have these different entities, to explore what we have in common and how we can use the strength of the different entities to push the agenda forward. That could be the only thing. But
and
also,
it's on the table.
Yes, but also, you have the right to choose. If you believe that this new entity is the one you want to belong to it. If you want to stay where you think you are okay, despite your misgivings, you also have a choice, because political parties are really associations of where you just free to individual choice, really, and that for me is critical. I find it sad that Ugandans can deliberately miss out key issues. Let me tell you, you can never work, even the Bible says so, unless you agree. You can never partner with a person who is championing a different agenda and you are on a different agenda. It just cannot add up. You spend all your time fighting. And for us at ANT, we thought, there's so much that has gone wrong in this country that you're better off saving the energy that you have and focusing on how you can make a contribution than spending your energy continuing to fight endlessly. That would be disastrous for the nation.
And for the people.
So, let's just say over the last 20 years, let's look at the opposition as a bloc, not just FDC only. We've had DP, we've had UPC, FDC, now ANT and NUP. Would you say the opposition today is in a much stronger place than it was years ago?
That should be informed by where we are coming from and the context in which we are operating. Remember, there used to be some article in the Constitution called Article 269 that had really obliterated political party operations. So the parties that you see today are shaped by that history. In fact, the emergence of FDC and the subsequent emergence of these other political parties was really a reaction to the fact that in this country, pluralism had been killed, removed from the table by the NRM, the one-party system that the Honorable Cecilia Ogwal used to call monolithic. That was Howard.
I give it to you, Mommy.
Yes, and then now
rest in peace.
We've come to hegemonic, where you have these political
Those
parties.
Are big English words, huh?
But they are the ones that apply.
Tell us what it is.
They are the ones that apply, where you have a big organization that thrives on state resources and allows you to register, but make sure you don't thrive in that atmosphere. No competition at best.
Contained.
Yes, you are contained. The political parties are just deemed as an antagonistic institution.
Let's just have brief comments about the regional sittings by MPs. I've actually forgotten that time is running so fast. It's almost 11. Just briefly about the regional sittings. The justification, the rationale.
There's no value for it because there's one parliament wherever it sits. Now, the logistics of regional at this time is a bad decision. And even the justification for it from my colleagues from northern Uganda, please, don't take us there. All hotels are going to have a party. I mean, this is not a constitution for hotels to make money. We have a bad situation. We have Chitezi. We have interns. I mean, can't you see? Listen, under normal times, it would have been a marvel. But given what you're doing and how you're doing it,
yes.
It stinks.
Honorable Lasso, regional sittings. Sorry, we had actually cut you short. Just comment briefly about the regional sittings and you can say one or two things about.
Well, regional, I keep wondering what the conceptualization of the regional sittings
The
is.
Continuation of populism.
Because what are the expected outcomes? The parliament that we know has an order paper.
Stephen is telling me that you also comment on the general overview of the 11th house compared to the houses you guys were in.
Stop pushing things. We can't.
Let Alice speak.
Yes. So I am thinking, when this whole thing was conceptualized, what were the expected outcomes? Because the parliament, we know, sitting in Kampala, has an order paper. It has things that it will deliver resolutions, and it doesn't even implement them. It is the executive that implements them. So that conceptualization, I am just curious to know what value addition they expected by moving it into regional sittings. That is one. Then there are provisions for voters to come and visit parliament if they want. Then thirdly, which for me is even critical, and Honorable Salam has talked about it, the value for money in a country which has a crisis. Crisis after crisis, mpox, kitezi, anything is happening in Uganda. So what is the value for money?
By
the time we come out of the massacre sitting, what is it that Parliament is going to put on the table and say these are the tangible results that we got out of the sitting? And you know, you also have committees. Maybe they should have even sent committees.
The committees are already there.
Turning a plenary into a baraza of sorts.
Wait.
That's what they intend to do.
Last week we were told
the
that
people
the
of northern Uganda come to speak in that parliament, or they'll be spectators like they are spectators when it's happening in Kampala. This is a joke.
And also you ought to know that Parliament is not the 300 MPs. There
529 plus the
clerks, the staff, plus all the security.
Logistical, weird.
Understanding the whole thing is still something I am grappling with.
No, they want to look. They are looking for a holiday.
Ladies, thank you very, very much.
Can you please allow me to pass my condolences?
Please, yes.
To a dear friend, Tamale Mirundi. Tamale, my brother, rest in peace. And may the family find it in itself.
Amen.
To keep the legacy.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you very much, ladies. Honorable Alice Alaso, Honorable Salam Musumba, I do appreciate you for making time.
I would really want to come back.
We're going to make sure you come back. This has been VPN. You've been looking at the developments at FDC, and we're asking which way forward. And thank you very much. My name is Judith Atim. We'll be back next Saturday, same time. And I hope to still have these ladies at another time. I can't say it will be next Saturday, but thank you very much. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.